Hello, Minnesota Conference family. This is Minnesota Conference Communication Department coming to you. We are today talking with Elder Eduardo Jacobo, who is our Hispanic coordinator. He's new to the Minnesota Conference. Pastor, how was your transition coming into the Minnesota Conference? What did you find and how did you go about adjusting?
Well, hi, how are you? It was a very interesting transition because we were serving at the Central California Conference and we were in the middle of a church plant project. Actually, we were finishing our first year in church planting, penetrating an area where we didn't have an Adventist presence when we received the invitation to join the Minnesota Conference. So we put that particular invitation in prayer. We didn't know whether the Lord was guiding us in accepting or not, but after that particular time of prayer and considering all the factors, we decided to accept the call. One area of interest for us was the church planting area, which has been our passion through our ministry. And as we moved to Minnesota, which we did during the winter season, we were not necessarily certain how the transition will play out. And we continued to pray and ask the Lord for guidance through the entire process. We were received so kindly and so welcoming from all the churches and all the pastors and the administration, all the conference team, and we began to work. As soon as we arrived here, first of all, we had elders meetings, and then we had ministerial meetings. We held pastors meetings, and we provide training, and we try to maintain the continuity of the program that they were already involved in. So we did everything that was at our disposal to ensure that the transition will not affect the already established plans, and we just added our ministry and our leadership to the ongoing plans that were already in place. And by the end of the year, we had experienced the Lord's blessing in such a way that the transition was actually not as tumultuous or to say the least, disruptive. It was a tremendous blessing. Actually, at the end of the year, we had added 146 new members to the membership of the Minnesota Conference. Mm-hmm. We had achieved an increment in tithe in comparison to the 2018 year of 5.36%. We had obtained a very strong and tight pastoral team, and also we had adapted to the new environment of the Minnesota Conference, which is very different than what Central California Conference is. Good. So looking back, I can say for sure that the Lord has blessed us up to that point.
When you came in, it was almost at the end of the year. You were transitioning in, carrying on the other programs. What plans did you have for 2020?
Well, one of my passions has always been evangelism. Evangelism is the driving force of my ministry, and church plant is basically the outcome of evangelism. Mm-hmm. So as we look forward to the 2020 year, one thing that I wanted to implement in our strategy for the Hispanic work was church planting. A definite initiative of church planting. So we projected to plant two new congregations from the scratch, meaning that We were not just members from any other established congregation, but actually we will start afresh a brand new congregation from the community. And we plan to penetrate Apple Valley, the community of Apple Valley, and then also establish a new congregation in the area of Richland and farther south. So as we look into the 2020, we plan to have a very aggressive evangelistic thrust in the spring with pastors of the Association of South Pacific in Colombia, who were actually coming to help us in that endeavor, and also to continue with an evangelistic series in the fall so that we can accomplish our goal in the 2020 year. So we were looking forward not only to establish those new congregations, but also to reach a very dream goal in this conference of reaching 200 new souls in 1 year. So we were also looking into increase our tithe income by 10%. Those were the goals that we were striving to reach in 2020.
With the COVID-19 impact on the country and globally, how has that impacted your plans?
Well, certainly COVID-19 was something that we never had in mind. It took us by surprise. One thing that I know is that we certainly were not very familiar with a kind of technical and type of broadcasting approach to ministry. Our members are not necessarily familiar with using technology for that particular purpose. Very much our emphasis had always been on a person-to-person base. And now that our members are not or were not or haven't been able to meet, we had no choice that making use of technology. So we quickly adapted to begin broadcasting using YouTube and Facebook. I really commend Pastor Barrios and the St. Paul Hispanic Church, because they had really advanced well beyond the expectations in establishing a media ministry in their local church. So that has been the base for many of our initiatives in this COVID-19 season, because the spring evangelism that we had planned for the Colombian pastors to come and help us, we had to cancel. And instead, we had to replace that with a media ministry. And we launched 2 evangelistic series in this particular season of 3 months. We did 2 weeks at the beginning of the COVID season in March. And then we have continued with another evangelistic series in the month of May. So, we had 24 baptisms lined up that we haven't been able to do due to the restrictions. And we have also about 30 to 35 leads that we need to follow as a result of the second evangelistic thrust that we had in the month of May. So of course we were hoping to get about 75 baptisms in this quarter of COVID season as a result of the media ministry that we have launched very very unexpectedly, and just as we learn to do this ministry now under these circumstances. But the Lord has blessed us tremendously throughout this particular season. The members have engaged much more in prayer meetings and in worship services, and they have really become very supportive. One thing that I noticed is we were afraid of the financial impact that COVID-19 will have on our churches. But to the grace of God and to His glory, we have seen an increase in tithe in comparison to last year of about 325%. So to God be the glory. But it
Praise the
is
Lord.
to our surprise and to the faithfulness of our members who have consistently, continually devoted themselves to the work of the church.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that there have been people that have chosen to want to be baptized. There are several leads that you have to follow through. We praise the Lord for that. Going forward, now that you have learned some media techniques and how to hold the church in an environment like COVID-19, what are your future plans?
Well, we certainly learned a lesson. We want to continue to do person-to-person ministry. That's a very fundamental approach in evangelism for the Hispanic work. But nonetheless, now we are going to integrate media ministry
Correct.
directly into evangelism. That means that, if before we actually did one evangelistic or two evangelistic series in the year, now we actually can do more than that.
Correct.
So we are going to take advantage of the learning experience in media ministry, and we're looking forward to exploit that by doing evangelism and many other meetings that we used to do person to person only once a year. So now we can do it twice or three times in a year. As a matter of fact, we've learned from this evangelistic series in such a way that now that we have canceled camp meeting formally, we decided to continue with camp meeting plans, and we are going to hold our camp meeting on June 13, the original date, but we're going to do it through virtual approach. So we're going to have Pastor Roger Hernandez, who is our invitee for camp meeting, to do the presentations that we had originally planned, and we are going to move everything into the virtual phase. So we hope to still be a blessing to our membership and well beyond the Minnesota Conference territory with our camp meeting, so that we can continue to focus in ministry and particularly emphasize evangelism as we are approaching to the very end time of this world.
Thank you, Pastor, for talking. We appreciate your work. We wish you God's blessings. As we close, would you want to challenge the Hispanic community? Maybe speak to them directly in Spanish?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Minnesota Conference and to address our constituency of Hispanic origin. Queridos hermanos de la Iglesia Hispana, ha sido un placer en este año y medio que tengo de trabajar con ustedes. Ha sido un placer poder compartir el ministerio pastoral y todo el enfoque evangelístico que nuestro campo tiene. Ciertamente la bendición de Dios ha sido abundante y quiero enfatizar que lo que viene adelante todavía será mejor para la obra y el crecimiento de la causa de Cristo. Espero que ustedes juntos, con todos los pastores, todo el equipo de pastoral y su servidor, podamos hacer el mejor esfuerzo en este año 2020 y eventualmente podamos alcanzar los objetivos que tenemos de expandir la obra del Evangelio en este territorio. Dios me les pueda bendecir en forma abundante.
Thank you very much. This is Minnesota Conference Communications Department. God bless you all and stay safe.